Hey, mamas, welcome back to Knit Your Stress Away. Today, I'm talking about something that is near and dear to my heart because I have been using it for over 10 years now. And I'm all about finding time and finding ways to relax for us busy moms and making it meaningful, meaning that, we need to put a lot of it into a small window of time because that's all we got. And today I'm going to bring you a way where you can enhance your knitting practice or everything else that you do in your life that is supposed to be helping you de-stress and relax. Let's dive in. I'm super excited about today's episode. Welcome to Knit Your Stress Away. I am Nadine Medina, a mom who rediscovered knitting during a stressful season and found it to be the ultimate way to relax, recharge, and reconnect with myself. If you're feeling overwhelmed and wondering if there's a creative outlet that could actually help you feel calmer and in more control, you're in the right place. In this podcast, I'll show you how knitting can be a simple stress-busting tool, even if you've never picked up needles before. So take a deep breath, let go of the chaos for a moment, and let's explore how knitting could become your new favorite way to find calm and joy. Hey, so if you're like me, knitting is already one of your go-to ways to unwind either after a long day or take a break midday, take it to your kids' events or activities and use it there to unwind, to kind of give yourself a little bit of a break. If you're brand new to it and you're like, I just stumbled across this podcast, which by the way, you're in for a treat and I'm so grateful you're here. But you may be in the beginning stages. You may be like, I'm so new to this. I have not even touched needles yet. I haven't even gotten my yarn and my knitting needles. Or maybe you are a mom who is rediscovering knitting as her go-to thing. Maybe you've done it in the past like me, and then you took a long break and didn't even know why, and here you are getting back into it. I have something for all of you. It is so amazing. I am super excited about this because today we're talking about how to make your knitting sessions and your practice even more relaxing. And it already is. So let's dive into this. I'm super excited because this has been something that I've been using for such a long time and I haven't talked about it in a very long time. So as everybody here knows, as moms, we're constantly juggling everything, like all the things, kids, meals, housework, work, right? Laundry, the list goes on. But sometimes we have a moment to sit down. And sometimes we don't grab our phone to scroll and doom scroll. Sometimes we actually do something that really nourishes us. It would be knitting, of course. Maybe you're crocheting too. Maybe you're sewing. Maybe you do something else. But something that helps us relax, that does something for our creative side, for our soul, for our well-being. But even when we get to do that, sometimes there's so much else going on. This month of December may be one of those times where you're like, wow, that mental clutter is not going anywhere. Even with me knitting, it's just like going and going and going up there. This is where my little secret comes in, and it's called essential oils. Yes, you heard that right. And you may be like, oh boy, really? That's what you're going to talk about? Yes, that's what I'm going to talk about because they're that amazing. And the coolest thing that I discovered once I got back into knitting, I was already using the oils when I got back into knitting. And I was like, whoa, hang on a second. These two go together like they're meant to be, right? Like the coolest thing about these things, like, first of all, they do so many things. They can do so many things. But let's bring it down to them being able to melt your stress away, right? They can create a cozy atmosphere. They can help you focus more on your project, and they just help you kind of drop those shoulders, take that deep breath, and just let go. Let go of all the mental clutter and chatter that you have going on. And if it's just for 15 minutes. So knitting will get us there, but sometimes you need a little extra help. And this is where this comes in. So let's talk about how we can incorporate essential oils into the knitting routine, right? I'm going to talk about some of my favorite blends and how they can enhance the entire experience. And you can trust me, you're going to want to try this by the end of this episode because, gosh, I honestly wish you could like sniff the scent of the oils through your headphones right now because I've got them right here and I can tell you it's amazing. So why would we pair knitting with essential oils? So knitting already, like I said, helps us relax, but essential oils can elevate that experience even further. It's funny, I just realized that I had a little space heater on to heat my feet because I'm chilly in my office. And I think you may have heard that in the background. So roll with me, I just turned it off. Hopefully the audio is a little bit better now. So the essential oils can elevate your knitting experience even further by diffusing them while you're knitting, right? You can create this atmosphere that helps you truly unwind. And there's definitely different oils that you can use for this purpose. So we'll talk about those in a minute. But what's cool about them is that don't just reduce your stress, which they absolutely do, but they also help focus your mind, and they can even help you breathe deeper and breathe better, which will make your whole break that you're taking where you're knitting feel like a mini retreat. Like it's such a break from the craziness that's going around you. And knitting and oils together, I mean, it's even better than just using a little drop of essential oil and inhale it as your mini break, which is also fantastic, but pair it with knitting and it's like, oh, just takes it up a notch. So how essential oils can enhance your knitting time. Let's talk about those ways they do that. So they can help you relax faster, like not just more, but also faster. So the right blend can actually calm your mind and body, and it's gonna let you fully enjoy your knitting time. And I'm not gonna get into the whole science of how they work. There's like a whole big, I mean, you can look it up. It's very sciencey and there's a lot to it. But I'm just going to talk about the fact that that actually works. And when something works for me, I do want to know about why it works, but I'm mainly interested in it working. So bear with me here. And if you do want to look it up, I'm going to pop some links into the show notes so that you can kind of, if you really want to get into the science of how this works. But it's very, very cool. It's very, very cool. They do create this calming space for you. It's not just so there's the actual oil that will work with your brain chemistry and with your body to create a more relaxing atmosphere, but also to help your body physically calm down, like your heart rate will slow down, things like that. But they can also create a more calming space based on the scents that you're picking. So in other words, your brain and your memory will connect with certain scents in a certain way to have a calming effect on your body. Okay, and they also can help you focus, which is so fantastic for us. Like, I probably could use one of those now so I don't trail off during this episode because I could talk about these all day long. But when we have these wandering thoughts, or when our brain is just playing like the same thing on repeat, or we are worrying about something and it just won't stop going up there, these oils can bring you a little bit further down back to the ground and, focus on one thing, or kind of just stop that mental chatter up there and really help you sharpen your concentration. So it's absolutely amazing for that. And while you're already knitting and you may need to focus on a certain project, this is the perfect addition to that so that you can, really hone in on what you're working on in that pattern. Because some patterns are a little bit more complicated than others where you can do more of a mindless knitting, right? So this is perfect for that. And here's one of my favorite parts now, which can be used in different situations as well, but it's also great for your knitting break. They promote deeper breathing. So you may notice that when you're tense or when you're stressed or when you're just kind of like running around all day, you breathe a little more shallow and your shoulders are kind of tensing up or whatever. Well, use some oils that are good for breathing, like eucalyptus, peppermint. Those are really great. They actually will open up your airways, and they will even ensure that your cells take in more oxygen with each breath. Like, how amazing and incredible is that? And you will automatically also feel more grounded as you're taking deeper breaths. Like, mind blown. I absolutely love it. So here are a few of my favorite blends that I highly recommend for knitting. And some funny, not funny, but fun ways to use them. It's super simple to use them. At first, I remember when I first saw these little bottles of oils, I was like, well, wait a minute, how do I use these? Like, they're supposed to be good for all these different things, like better breathing, focus, stress. How do I use them? They all look the same, but then I can still use them for so many different things. How does this work? So in this case, I would diffuse them. So you would get a diffuser, you put water in it, you put your oils in there, and then it just diffuses into the air in the area you're sitting and knitting. This can also benefit the people around you, which is really great, especially for any calming oils to benefit your children. They can often use a little bit of a calming energy, right? Mine anyway. And the other way that I personally have figured out for knitting specifically is to just put a little drop into your yarn ball. Like, what? When I first figured that out, I was like, wow, this is absolutely amazing, because the thing constantly moves and it helps get that aroma out in the air where you're sitting and where you're using it. So it's the absolute perfect way to use it. One word of caution though, some essential oils are colored, like, you know, some of them have a little bit of a blue tint depending on what plant they're made out of. Most of them are pretty clear, but some of them can be yellowy or blue, lemon, orange, and then there's an oil called blue tansy that has a bit of an orange, blue tint, and they can stain fabrics. So I would be very careful with that. But lavender, peppermint, an oil called Stress Away that I love using, those are all totally fine to use in and on your yarn. And it's such a great way. If you don't want to put it on your yarn, that's also cool. I like to just put a tiny little drop on a collar of my shirt, or just kind of like on the inside of my undershirt. So works totally fine. All right, let's talk about some blends that I personally love for my knitting sessions. So you can kind of tailor them to what you're trying to accomplish. In the first blend, I'm thinking relaxing and unwinding, which sounds dreamy right now. And it would be a combo of lavender essential oil and the one that I just mentioned called Stress Away. So the oils that I'm talking about here are the ones that I personally use. I will never use any other oils because I've used these for 10 years. They have the highest quality that I have come across, and they are called Young Living. I'm going to put a link in the show notes where you can check them out. And if you want to grab some, you can go ahead and do that as well. Those are my absolute go-to, my favorite. They have the best quality, smell the best. Like, you can use them for all kinds of things, and you can put them straight on your skin, which is not guaranteed for any oil that you can buy out at like Target, Walmart, or the like. So I would definitely be very, very cautious when it comes to that with those oils, because there may be a lot of additives in there. So I need to always put this warning out when I talk about them. Because it can really mess up your skin, and it can be quite dangerous actually, because there's things in there that may not be regulated and, may not be great for you. But for these oils that I'm linking up in the show notes, you can rest assured they have high quality. They're absolutely amazing. They're safe to use. Okay. So lavender calms the mind, and the Stress Away creates this peaceful vibe. It smells like island, vacation. Put that together with the lavender, and it's like, oh, I just absolutely love that smell. So again, put it either in your hands or on your wrists, or put it in the diffuser and just let it do its thing as you're knitting in your living room or in your kitchen or wherever you are. Blend number 2, also one of my faves, and my kids actually use this for studying as well, is the Focus blend. Focus and knit works well together, especially like we just talked about, some sort of tricky pattern that requires a lot of concentration. So peppermint and rosemary, they smell fantastic together, and they can really help be alert, right? And take in what you're reading, what you're looking at, and just giving you this focus boost, right? So my kids use it for studying, and there's actually a really cool thing about rosemary, that when you use it while you're studying a certain topic or read something that you want to retain, then diffuse it or smell it again when you need to basically download that information from your brain again in the future. You will have an easier time to do that because your memory connects to the scent and the thing you were reading when you smell it again in the future. How cool is that? These things just blow my mind. I just freaking love it. Okay, next I have a blend that is perfect for this time of year. It goes all the way from like fall to like January. It's the winter fall blends for cozy and uplift. I go for a blend of orange, cinnamon, and clove. And specifically for this time of year, like for Christmas, for the season, there's one called Christmas Spirit, which is essentially the same blend, except it also has I think it's spruce inside. So has the little extra Christmas smell from the spruce. But it just makes your home feel and smell so very cozy. And it's the absolute perfect setting for your cozy tea, coffee, knitting time. I mean, I'm hoping I'm painting an amazing picture here for you where you like, where are my knitting needles? And where are my oils? Like, I need to do this right now. I'm going to pop these blends in the show notes so you can actually see them. But once again, please don't run out and grab the next essential oil that costs like $1.50. It won't be the same quality that I'm talking about here. I just need to make sure that I tell you that. But again, all the links are down below in the show notes so you can check them out. And that is basically all I have for you today. I hope that you can imagine what that will feel and smell like when you have those oils in your diffuser or in your surroundings as you knit. And as you know, knitting is about taking time for yourself, finding peace in your day, and finding joy in the process. And adding essential oils will only deepen that feeling, that relaxation, and can really turn your knitting even more into a true self-care moment. So I encourage you to experiment with these blends and see if they change the way you feel and if they can maybe deepen that focus or deepen the relaxation that you're looking for from your knitting journey already. Meanwhile, why don't you come over into the beginner knitting community over on Facebook, hang out with us. We have a lot of fun in there. We're talking about different knitting techniques. If you have any questions about beginning to knit, starting to knit, your beginner guide that you may have downloaded from me, come over there, ask your question, and just hang out in the group. We're having a lot of fun over there, and I would love to have you over there too. You can find that at theknittingmamas.com/group. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope it made you feel more relaxed just by listening to it. And check out the show notes if you're interested. I'm also happy to ask any questions that you may have about these oils because there may be quite a few questions. It can be a little daunting in the beginning to understand how to use them. So feel free to hop over into Instagram. My handle is @thenittingmamas_, and you can ask me questions over there too. So hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will talk to you right here on the Knit Your Stress Away podcast next week. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on today's episode. I hope you're walking away with a bit more inspiration and a few ideas to make your self-care a priority. If today's chat gave you a little boost, I'd love it if you could leave a 5-star review on iTunes. This helps other moms discover the podcast and start finding more calm and creativity in their day as well. And don't forget to join us over in the Knitting Mamas community on Facebook by going to thenittingmamas.com/group. Thanks again, and remember, you deserve time for yourself to recharge and feel your best. Catch you next time on the Knit the Stress Away podcast.